When you start sim racing, every lap feels thrilling. Every improvement feels monumental. But as you settle into a routine, those dopamine hits become less frequent and the excitement starts to fade. Have you ever felt like you're racing and suddenly started wondering if you're just wasting your time? I have. When that happens, the magic suddenly shatters, leaving a deep void inside. If every mistake makes you angry, if every race feels exhausting rather than energizing, burnout is creeping in. Sometimes we also overestimate how quickly we should improve. Comparing ourselves to pro racers or content creators sets a mental trap. When reality doesn't match expectations, motivation crashes hard. Let me ask you something. Do you find yourself making excuses not to race? I'll do it tomorrow turns into next week, then next month. That's a classic burnout sign. And if you find yourself grinding for virtual points, tying your self-worth to a rating system, sim racing can quickly become tedious. If you spend more time looking at others' lap times or achievements instead of focusing on your own growth, you'll never feel satisfied. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. So how do we reignite the fun? My number one tip is finding a team. If you're always racing solo, it can start to feel empty and repetitive. That's where joining a community or a structured league comes in. Racing with others brings a sense of accountability and camaraderie. Suddenly, you're not just driving laps against faceless names on a leaderboard, you're sharing victories, laughing at close calls, and learning from each other's mistakes. We have an incredible community over on my Discord server, a place to ask questions, troubleshoot technical issues, or just hang out and chat about racing. Hop in, say hello, and let's get you back on track together. And hey, if you're someone that refuses to sign up for a race just because you feel you're not quick enough on that track car combo, here's my honest advice. Treat those first races as practice sessions. Practicing alone for hours just to be eligible to race in your mind will slowly kill the joy of sim racing. Once you can navigate the layout, sign up for a race and take it from there. After a few races, you will get quicker and then you can add some ambitious objectives like finishing in the top 10 or avoiding off tracks. Because if you'll feel you need to dedicate hours daily to be competitive, sim racing can quickly become more of a chore than a passion. This mindset often leads to frustration and burnout, especially when balancing real-life responsibilities like work, family, or school. If your time is limited, it's important to lower your expectations and approach it as a long-term journey rather than striving to be the best in the shortest time possible. Progress in sim racing doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. Embrace the process, celebrate small improvements, and focus on enjoying each race. And here's another big one: the lack of purpose. If you don't have a clear goal, something to chase, like climbing the iRating ladder, mastering a specific car, or racing in a championship, sim racing can start to feel aimless. We all have friends that are not sim racers but might enjoy watching you race. Starting a YouTube channel with the goal of sharing your progress is another good tip. That's actually how I started this YouTube channel and gave me a sense of purpose with the hobby. For this year, to make things interesting, I put the goal to get to 15,000 subs. And I know 94% of you are not subscribed yet, so do your part. But some people get this burnout because of always driving the same thing. Variety can break monotony. If you've been driving GT3s non-stop, switch to dirt racing, open wheel, or even oval racing. Fun is the priority here. And don't stop at just cars and tracks. Try other simulators too. Each sim offers something unique. iRacing might be your go-to for competitive online racing, but maybe you'll find joy in Assetto Corsa's endless modding community, the intense rally stages in Dirty Rally 2.0, or the pure driving pleasure of Automobilista 2's physics. Here's the thing, trying new cars and tracks also makes you a better driver. Cross-training in sim racing, jumping from a slippery rally stage to the precision of a Formula car, sharpens your adaptability, reflexes, and car control. These skills carry over, and suddenly your laps in your favorite GT3 feel smoother and more confident. Normalizing mistakes is a big one. Even Formula 1 drivers crash in turn 1 or miss braking points. It's easy to overreact and question if you're cut out for it, but mistakes happen at every level. Instead of dwelling on them, use them as learning moments. Watch the replay and ask, what could I have done better to avoid that? This mindset not only helps you improve, but also keeps the experience positive and focused on growth. Another tip to deal with burnout is to take a break without guilt. Sometimes the best way to fall back in love with sim racing is to step away for a while, play another game, pick up a new hobby, or simply rest. The rig will still be there when you return, and you'll still come back refreshed and ready to race again. I've recently spent an obscene amount of time in Path of Exile 2, and now I'm craving sim racing each day. But if jumping between different cars and tracks feels overwhelming, try the opposite. Dedicate a week or two to one car and one track. Mastery brings satisfaction. The process of refining every corner, every braking point, it can become deeply rewarding when you start noticing those micro improvements. And remember, not every lap has to be the fastest, and not every race has to be a win. Shift your mindset from "I need to be perfect" to "I want to have fun today." Toxicity in online races is something most sim racers encounter at some point, whether it's overly aggressive drivers, rude comments, or unnecessary blame after an incident. It can quickly drain the fun from racing. The good news is you have control over how much of it affects you. Muting toxic players and avoiding post-race arguments can save you a lot of frustration. Instead, focus on finding supportive communities or joining private leagues where clean racing and mutual respect are prioritized. Surrounding yourself with like-minded racers not only makes the experience more enjoyable, but also keeps you motivated to race and improve, and make sure winning is not everything. Some drivers take sim racing so seriously that winning becomes their sole focus, leading them to race unfairly, punting others, making reckless moves, and prioritizing victory over clean competition. While this might work temporarily, it often backfires. Beyond the obvious consequences like penalties or a damaged reputation, there's a deeper cost: guilt. Even if they win, it feels hollow and undeserved, leaving a lingering sense of dissatisfaction. Over time, this cycle of guilt and frustration can lead to burnout, as the joy of fair competition is replaced by pressure and negativity. True satisfaction comes from racing respectfully, knowing you've earned every result through skill and sportsmanship, not shortcuts. For me, watching other sim racing content creators helps a lot. Sometimes, seeing others race could reignite your excitement. But here's a warning when watching other content creators: don't fall into the comparison trap. Watch for inspiration, not to measure yourself against their skills. Plus, investing in your overall quality of your rig can help with burnout as well. Doing proper cable management or investing in some cheap quality of life upgrades for your rig can make the experience more pleasant, and as a result, you'll want to spend more time racing. That's especially true if you're dealing with physical fatigue or discomfort from long racing sessions. Making sure you have the ergonomic adjustments set up perfectly for you will elevate your racing experience. Of course, all these tips rely on a mindset shift. Sim racing is a never-ending learning process. Even the best drivers are still improving. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. You're not Max Verstappen, and that's okay. Sim racing is supposed to be fun, therefore not every race needs to be an Olympic performance. And if you're frustrated, take a step back and realize how cool this hobby actually is. You get to race on virtual recreations of legendary tracks with cars most people will never drive. That's pretty awesome. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt burnout in sim racing? What helped you overcome it? And if this video helped you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content just like this.